Hey, this is Jeff Thorne. I am the writer, producer, showrunner of the upcoming Avengers Black Panther's Quest TV series, and you are listening to A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live.
It's time. Talk time. Let's go. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Live. Started in the 80s with Matt Cross. Dudes in the hood might have called that soft, but I carried that cross like Jesus did. Fast forward, I teach the kids to learn how to let go, live life, and show love to all things that don't matter where y'all from. And luckily, there's a show called Talk Time. We've been waiting for this for a long time. Dax kicks the facts on all the geek news, special guests and unbiased reviews. Suburban kids, the hipster street dudes, all can learn something new. Me too. I heard words when no faith is empty. I stayed the course, so my haters tempt me. Beep the podcast, that'll make them envy. It ain't too trendy, it's A.C.M.G. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Live.
Welcome back. This is A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live, the Prime Show. I am your host, Xavier Josiah. Welcome back. And if you notice, this is a Wednesday, and we're having a Prime Show. Prime shows are usually on Sundays, but there's so much information, as I told you guys before. There's just so much going on this week that I couldn't do it all in one swoop. It'll be a hell of a long episode, so I'm separating each episode. There's enough news to talk about this week and things to review this week for a lot. So, yeah, we're having one today. We're still going to have one Sunday. We're even still going to have a Select Start episode tomorrow because they're going to be premiering the Mortal Kombat 11 gameplay reveal and many other things that is going on. So we're going to talk about all that tomorrow and probably later because here in the East Coast, they're going to be premiering that, I believe, at 1:30. So I'll do it immediately afterwards and have it out later on that day, along with other news and such that are coming from that front, as well as other gaming news. So yeah, we're gonna have that tomorrow. Glass also comes out this week. Dragon Ball Super Brawly premieres today in the US, so I'm gonna see that on Friday as well as Glass. Glass is gonna be my morning mission, and then in the evening I'm going to see Dragon Ball Super. So there's no shortage of action going on today. But today's episode, I'm going to be reviewing The Reign of Supermen, the follow-up to The Death of Superman by DC Animation and WB Animation. So we're going to see how that fared with the previous one, which I really, really liked, and see if this one stayed in tune with everything else and what should we expect going down the line. So, but with that said, we got a little bit of news that I want to talk about as well before we get to that talk topic. So let's not waste any time, people. Let's find out what's new in the world of ACMG.
And now, it's time to find out what's new in the world of ACMG.
All right, folks, before I get started, I want to say thank you to everybody who wished me well on my birthday. There was a bunch of people that was on my Facebook group and LinkedIn and all this stuff. Just want to thank everybody. It was really cool. Always a pleasure hearing from people I haven't heard from in a long time. And fun fact, I didn't know this, but Carl, shout out to Duran in our ACMG Facebook group for this, because he actually pointed out that Carl Weathers' birthday is also on my is the same day as mine, as well as I mentioned LL Cool J. So I got a nice, great celebrity group to follow on my birthday. So shout out to him. That's awesome. But let's talk about the other great news that happened yesterday. We finally got it. Marvel Studios released the sequel trailer to Spider-Man Far From Home. We finally got to see this trailer, and I am very happy and excited to see this, as well as everybody else who responded to the actual post when I posted it on there. And just so much going on. we get Nick Fury in this movie this time around. That's going to be monitoring Peter around. So this is kind of cool because it's reminiscent of certain comic book sagas that he's done, and of course the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon that we got to see on Disney XD. So this time around, him, Ned, Zendaya, who plays MJ, and looks like Ned is dating Betty Brant, apparently is going on a European vacation, and a whole entire class is going on a European vacation, when all of a sudden Nick Fury appears. Yes, Samuel L. Jackson is back, people. So this is going to be interesting, and he's now looking to work with Peter to go after Jake Gyllenhaal, who's playing Mysterio. And man, does he look really, really cool. We finally get to see Mysterio, and the suit looks on point. I love it. What I didn't know, and this might have already been talked about, that Hydro Man is going to be in this movie, and wow, this is going to be amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I don't know if Peter is going to be a agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., but also I don't know if S.H.I.E.L.D. is actually, showing their faces now. I don't know if he even is still affiliated with it. But also, Kobe Smulders is going to be in this movie too. They showed a back of the head feature of her, so she's definitely in this movie. One of the other interesting things, and we've been talking about this, has been a conversation. They show Spider-Man with the new black and red suit, which is awesome. But in particular, they show a really quick tease of Spider-Man wearing a black, stealthy, look like wetsuit almost pretty much. And there's a lot of talk around the internet about whether what that suit has been inspired by. I, in fact, just thought it was just a stealthy suit. It didn't come to my mind of any inspiration of any other suit before, because it really doesn't look like any other suit. But people are thinking or wanting to believe that it is a suit based on the noir era version of Spider-Man. So there's a possibility. I won't necessarily dismiss that it is from the noir. I mean, because the only thing that people are capitalizing on is the eyes and the fact that he has a protective shield around, gargoyle-like shield around him. But, I mean, I would only really be convinced of it if he wears a trench coat at this point. But otherwise, it could, in fact, be a different style stealth or suit to protect him from Hydro Man. That's my belief. The other thing that I noticed, too, is that somebody showed me an article on the A.C.M.G. Facebook group. They showed me an article based on somebody else's opinion. Only opinion. There was no fact when I read this article. And yes, I read the article, and not the headline. The article, was only talking about their theory, their hypothesis on what that could be. And he said it could be the noir suit, but also it could possibly be a suit from the Secret Wars, because when they worked with Nick Fury before, they all wore stealth-like versions of their suits, and you see that suit in the Marvel Spider-Man PS4 game that is out. So that's one of the suits there. I'm thinking it's just a totally new, different type of suit. That's plain and simple. I mean, the only way I'll be convinced that it is based on a stealth suit, and again, they could be right. They could absolutely be right about this. The only way that I would see them actually it being referenced to the noir suit is if the designers of that movie actually says that's where they got the inspiration from, and that it was a nod to that. Otherwise, it's just only speculation at best. But I just didn't see it. I didn't see it. It could have been any suit. Just a design factor. I figure if they're going to do that they're going to possibly or mostly, make it look somewhat like that version. So I almost feel like it's stretching, but we'll see. This is only the trailer. There's plenty more to see, and we'll get more information down the line, guarantee. But this right now, I'm extremely convinced that I'm going to love this. It has the same comedy banter that they had before. There's a scene where Flash in there, and MJ is, he's idolizing Spider-Man again, and MJ is saying, like, why do you like Spider-Man so much? Like, he's pretty cool. He protects us, everything. And then Peter comes up and he's like, what's up, loser? And I always love the way that Tom Holland responds to any of the pushback or clapback that Flash or anybody actually gives him. He just takes it in stride. So I'm looking forward to this. This is awesome. One of 3 Marvel movies that myself and a bunch of the guys from Philly, A.C.M.G. Philly, are going to be coming together to check out. I can't wait. We're all going to go to Movie Tavern. We did this last time with Ant-Man and the Wasp. We had a great time. It was a nice niche group that came by. I'm looking forward to having more people come along. And it was cool because more people said that they were going to come along and join us this time. And we're going to have a great outing. This is awesome. If they've never been to Movie Tavern before or anything like Movie Tavern, it's going to be awesome. Great place, good food. We actually just went there recently for the Upside, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the food. I enjoyed the movie. And I absolutely enjoyed those damn reclining seats. So we're also supposed to be getting a new theater here in downtown Philly when they finally, put everything together. So I'll be, hopefully, we'll all get together. And it might be, if that place is a better place to go, hopefully both in ambiance and in capacities per se, that might be a spot too. So we'll see. For those who are listening that's from Philly, we'll definitely check on that. But for now, Movie Tavern is the deal. It's a great ride. It's a great time. And I'm looking forward to it. Absolutely. So let's talk about some other news, some annoying news. So there are reports that I saw that it was revealed, I forgot at what award ceremony, but it was revealed that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles will once again be rebooted into another freaking film. I'm not alone in my disdain for that news, considering that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are the most rehashed franchise I have ever seen in my life, in my whole livelihood as a fan. I have seen this show and movie turn so many different directions and change so many times the art direction, from the art direction to just everything. And I thought that Out of the Shadows by far is my favorite. And I definitely give a nod to the Jim Henson first movie, the first movie that ever came out. There's nothing that will ever take away from that situation. Even if you see the eyes of in the suit, doesn't matter. But the fact of the matter is, they did to their credit, and not Michael Bay's credit, to the director's credit, because he didn't direct this film. There were some influences within him, so he's taking credit for some of the, probably more as a consultant type of situation, or this guy could have been a ghostwriter, who knows, but they are actually doing another reboot, and one of the biggest words that I hate these days is reboot, and sometimes it's done way too often. Out of the Shadows, I thought was the favorite because it was so close to that of the actual animated series from the 80s. It was so close to it. I mean, not in art style, but in character development. I thought they did a great job. I even thought Megan Fox actually did pretty good as April in there. I mean, I really didn't have a problem with that movie at all, despite the fact that it did, only make $245 million, which is worldwide. Yeah, that is kind of small in some cases, but my opinion, this is just only my opinion, my theory. I think attaching Michael Bay to that movie might have affected that movie. I honestly believe that if he had not put himself and put himself out there as he was, a part of this movie, I think that movie would have shined a lot better and made more money. But I think people were already, going through the motion of, oh God, not another Michael Bay explosion movie, or just, you see this all the time. You know the style of a Michael Bay movie, and it didn't feel like a Michael Bay movie. Only just the action parts was like very Michael Bay-ish, but everything else around it was really cool. So once again, it is Michael Bay's team that's going to be a part of this. So I don't know what they're doing. He just needs to stop at this point, because, I mean, I think he's working on Bad Boys for Life, So if that's the case, yeah, stick with that, because I think he'll do tremendously on that. When it comes to human-related movies, he does really, really good directing those movies. But you do see the same patterns all the time in his movies now. It's such a cliche thing to see now. Even there's an episode of Family Guy where they really, really get it down pat as to the patterns that Michael Bay does in his movies. Even to the point you barely see any ugly people, or let me see, normal people. In this case, in a Michael Bay movie, you don't. I said it many times. I've been to a Michael Bay set in Philly. None of those people look like they live in Philly. And like, we have some really beautiful people in Philly, but like, these were so extraordinary. Like, what was it like? How can I say it? It was, we had models. They were all models in the set. Like, I'm glad they never said it was Philly, because it wouldn't be believable at all. These people were looking like they were, Victoria's Secret models at best. It was ridiculous. And I'm like, no, none of these people are coming from this area. I mean, there may be like one or two. We have one or two that are like really, really stand out, attractive around here, like every other city. But like, there was just a horde of them, and they all went to college. It was like, it was crazy. So yeah, I'm really not happy with it. There are other people who were, when it was brought up, they're not happy with it. Not only that, I think just the franchise alone, because when you look at the animated series too, if you look at it from the beginning of the original animated series that they started with and on down, the animation just starts to dilute the art style. Not the animation, the art style. The animation is always still pretty good, but the art style just becomes more and more diluted and simplistic by every single version, with the exception of the TMNT movie that came out from WB, which was awesome, which absolutely great. I think that was my second. Actually, I'll say this number. I would say that would be my number one favorite Turtles movie. Out of the Shadows would be second, and the original Jim Henson version will be the third at this point, because I thought they did a tremendous job working on that version. If you haven't seen the TMNT WB movie that came out of theaters years ago, it was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. They did a great job, and it was a more edgier version of what we're used to, and it felt like the sequel, legit sequel to the Jim Henson versions. It felt like it was following up with that, so I loved it. But now they have, what is it? The Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is on Nickelodeon. When I saw the art style of that particular version, I just opted out. I'm like, I'm not messing with this. They're just taking everything which made the Turtles so cool and just wiping it away. Like, this is the scary part about giving away your intellectual property that you created. Once you give it away, you have no actual, control over what they do. And when you see stuff like this, it's like, yeah, you're collecting money from it, but at the end of the day, are you satisfied? Are you happy with what they're doing? It's like, it looks, and I get it, it's a new generation. I guarantee though, if you play back some of the old stuff, the new generation will still love the old generation, art styles. I some way, somehow, I have to find out, because I remember talking to Jeff Thorne, and Jeff Thorne, who is the writer-producer of Black Panther's Quest, Jeff Thorne actually said, and when we were talking, he was saying something about, how it costs really a lot to put a lot of detail into animation, into the art style and everything. So I know that plays a factor with us, and I don't think it's more of an artistic thing, because I think if it was more of an artistic aspect of, designing or creating, people want to create more detail. Like, if you drew like Jim Lee, you want to see Jim Lee's art style in motion. Everybody would love to see that, but it would probably cost an enormous amount of money to do so. Like, if you look at Fist of the North Star, the original 1986 movie, which still looks great and it still stands, I honestly tell you, man, it still blows a lot of these shows away, these animated shows away right now. But also, it cost a ton of money to make for them to be able to have the animation and the art style look the way it did. So I know that plays a factor, but man, we got to do something. And again, thank goodness for DC animation, which we're going to talk about in our talk topic with Reign of Superman, because and Young Justice and all those, DC animation is right now is the best animated U.S. franchise we have right now. Whether I know they get it done by the Korean animators, but the art style is still drawn here, and they animate it down there. So I mean, it looks spectacular, and then the animation itself is phenomenal. So if we didn't have them, and in some cases Marvel animation as well, because they're starting to pick up their game with some of the stuff that is not at the level of what we see from DC animation, but they have some good things going on there. And it's funny too, because I just watch Ultimate Spider-Man episodes on YouTube. If you guys don't know, Marvel HQ shows a lot of free episodes of some of the old shows that used to come on Disney XD. Superhero Squad is on air. Ultimate Spider-Man is on air. A few others is on air as well. But Ultimate Spider-Man looks really, really good. Man of Action did that, and Paul Dini was in charge of that. And Paul Dini, who used to do Justice League and Batman, the animated series, Superman animated series, and many more, they brought him on just particularly to make sure that they had the best looking Spider-Man animated series ever. And to this day, I believe it still is the best Spider-Man animated series they've done, probably since the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends at that point. So we'll see. I don't know what they're going to do with this. I mean, they're saying it's a reboot. Maybe they just we'll see. We'll definitely be. This is not the last time we're going to be talking about this. Guaranteed. That movie's going to come. We're going to talk about it thoroughly, and I'll even do an episode where I rank the best Turtles episode completely, because there's a lot of Turtles episodes out there. But I mean, it's more than just the three that I just mentioned. Or just in franchise in general. We'll see. So I just let it be. I just say continue where you left off. Just because it didn't go right. Again, get rid of Michael Bay, or just hide him away and just say you're not using him. I think that's just my personal opinion. Again, I just really think that he's the effect of that. Look what happened with Bumblebee. Bumblebee is now rated, who that didn't have any Michael Bay influence, has become considered the greatest Transformers movie ever made at this point. That didn't have anything to do with Michael Bay. But Michael Bay comes on and do another Transformers movie, it sucks ass at this point, because he is so egotistical. He is so I mean, just he's not a fan of it. And we gave him one try with part one, and it just, from there, it's just like now he's just trolling at this point. So let's get out of this situation. I got one more thing to talk about here, and this is a very interesting thing, because as a designer myself and as a person who understands the business aspect of copyright and such, I wanted to bring this up. So Disney apparently files a copyright claim on a YouTuber for the recent Darth Vader film, which is known as Darth Vader Episode 1 Shards of the Past. You guys have seen it. You're like one of many, or 6 million who've seen this movie. And the YouTuber who goes by the name of Star Wars Theory, created this very beautifully expensive, creative, fan-made episode of Darth Vader. And he claims that he was in agreement with Lucasfilms that he could upload the video, but could not monetize or crowdfund for the production of this. And I bring that up big time because he goes and says that I went on to, and he quotes, I quote, I went on to them, that's Lucasfilms, and said I wanted to make a Vader fan film. Star Wars Theory, who has more than 1.4 million subscribers, said in a new video he released Monday, and he asked them, can I crowdfund? Can I monetize it? And can I get some sort of payback for the money I'm going to be putting into this to make this for fans? They were like, nope, You can't crowdfund? Nope. You cannot make money from it. First of all, I'm going to stop right there. I am going to... The audacity that homie had to even ask that. I respect his creativity. I admire that he had the money to do this. But how dare you assume or feel that you're entitled to get paid off of somebody's IP when you have no permission to? I am ecstatic about that. Like, I love when people do fan-made films. But there's a rule. There's an absolute rule to doing this. And I've known this for years. I've known people who do IP-related content. You know, IP fan content just out of the part of their heart. None of them are making money. Only one person I know that is licensed to be able to utilize elements of an IP, and that's Mega Ran. The same Mega Ran that does the theme song to the show. He is the first hip-hop artist to ever get licensed by Capcom to be able to use elements of Mega Man for anything that he uses that's Mega Man related, even his name. He gets to sell items from his name because he has a license that was given by Capcom. That's not an everybody thing. They thought of him to be something that special enough to do that. And by the way, he never asked for it. He was doing Mega Man related songs just for the love of it. If you hear any of the interviews that I have from him in the past, we talked about this before, and they absolutely enjoyed his music. Keiji Inafune especially, who was the executive producer of Mega Man for years, and Unimusha and all those other games. By the way, Unimusha will be talked about on Select Start tomorrow. I am playing that game, so just want to give a heads up for that, but I digress. Yeah, that's not a rare thing. Case in point, DJ Cut, man, my good friend of mine, neighbor down the street, he actually used to do, or still does, he does chip tunes, but when I first met him, he was doing an entire album on Zelda, one of the Zelda games, and he was not getting paid for this. This was for the total love. He got notoriety and awareness for how really good the album was and all that he does, but that's what you do it for. You don't do it to get paid for it. At least that's not the intention. If you do, that's just a bonus or extra, but you don't come in feeling entitled. And honestly, I felt like this dude was entitled to even ask that. And there's some people who are actually mad about that and taking his side on that. I'm thinking, no, you don't understand it. I think those same people I'm not afraid to say this. I think those same people are uneducated to understanding the business aspect, and also that they have not ever had their own intellectual property or creation or copyright of anything, something that they created for somebody to profit off of. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? I mean, as a person who's created my own thing too, you know, I would be really pissed if somebody's getting paid off of my work and I'm not getting paid a dime, and you're even asking for it, even though I never asked you to make it. I never asked you to do anything like this. I stopped people from even trying to use A.C.M.G. I mean, like, that's even close to what I'm doing, because I've copywritten the whole entire everything of this. So that, to me, it's like, dude, no. No, why would you? I can understand if you wanted to make it just for the heart of making it, that's one thing. Just because you spent a ton of money on this, which by the way, it's believed to be up to $80,000 that he spent. Well, not $80,000, but I'll read that in a minute. But regardless, the fact that you chose to want to make a fan film about Darth Vader. Nobody asked you to do it. You chose, and then you had the nerve to ask them. What kind of bullshit is that? That pissed me off. That really pissed me off. I give examples here. I give another example aside from Mega Ran. Joey, and it is kind of Capcom related too. Joey Answer. I don't know if you guys remember that name. That guy, he is the director of Street Fighter Assassin's Fist, which is highly regarded, arguably, as the best live-action Street Fighter series ever done. This guy, do you want to know, if you guys don't remember, I'll tell you, you want to know actually how he got that and Capcom approved of him doing that and asked him to do that? It's because he took his own money. He got pissed off from watching The Legend of Chun-Li, which we all remember that travesty, and then the original Street Fighter live action film, and then every other version or animated version that wasn't anime that came out, and he got pissed off. He used that fury to create the perfect fighting game live action series. And he got Mike Moe, who's been on the show, to talk about that series, and who played a excellent real life action Ryu, and he also was on Inhumans shortly after that, and he's going to be in the new Quentin Tarantino movie, by the way. And he's been on the show, so if, go on to I gotta see if I've re-uploaded that, because there's still a few interviews that I gotta re-upload, but nonetheless, Mike Moe's been on the show, and we talked about this, but he didn't ask anybody. Joey Answer didn't ask for money. He didn't ask for entitlement. He didn't ask for monetizing or crowdfunding for this. He came out of his own pocket and put this together. I think, as a matter of fact, if I'm correct, this might have been before like the whole crowdfunding fame came by. He put his own money out, got Mike Moe and I forgot the other actor's name who plays Ken to play these roles, and made an excellent short of it that got just like the Vader episode 1. Got a ton of notoriety. It went viral because it was just so well done. Capcom caught wind of it, and they worked together with Joey Answer to create an actual series, a series of this, which came out phenomenal. And not only that, Hyundai actually, sponsored the actual thing. So I mean, he got. It worked just because he put his passion on it. He wasn't expecting anything from him. So apparently, as you all know, as most of you know, the video was released on December 21st and gained over 6 million views, in which he estimated that it could have earned him $80,000 so far, which also would have paid for the film's production costs and a head start for the second episode. Guess what? Doesn't matter. Does not matter. That's not Disney's fault. That's not their responsibility. You took the time and passion to go out there and do it. If you did it expecting that you were going to get some payback from it, you're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot if that was the case. Like, no. Unless you have a contractual agreement. If anything, you should have did this to try to get a job from Disney to help out on the show, or rather on the show or the movie, or even come up with a new, franchise or IP for the universe. But no, I think just the fact that you even asked that probably guaranteed, that probably pissed them off, because when people do this by now, it's almost common knowledge now. It should have been common knowledge that you don't come in, when you do fan films, you don't expect to get paid. They're fan films. They're your appreciation for the franchise that you get. I humbly disagree with him asking that. The fact that he even asked that was just, honestly, to me, disrespectful. So you're getting paid money for somebody else's work. How about getting paid to create your own work? And then have somebody else create a version of your work and try to get paid off of that. See how that goes. How about that? Think of that theory. I don't have but so much to say otherwise than that, but that's ridiculous. I don't know how old this guy is. I don't know if he's millennial or not, but that just sounded like a very millennial type of thing to say. Or just, you don't have to, and I realize in this day and age, you don't have to be of age to be millennial, because it sometimes assimilate into the X generations, and they kind of just assimilate into the mindset, the millennial mindset. But even still, you just do not. That's so unprofessional for him to even go off and say, I want to make a fan film. I want to get paid for making a film, when Disney is already getting paid to do what they're doing. They're already getting paid to do a new Disney theme park. They got their money. They don't want anybody else making money off this stuff, because it takes away from them. Why is that so evil? Why is that so evil? And there are people online who are commenting on this but don't really truly understand because they've never done business before. They've never been in a situation before. They're not creators. They only see the one-dimensional aspect of this and thinking it's all about the money. Or, why not? Let them do it. No. God, do your own thing. Create your own thing and then see how it feels. That's all I'm going to say about that, ladies and gentlemen, because I could go on for a long time and rant about this, but that's it. With that said, go out of your way to check out Vader Episode 1, Shards of the Past. He did a really great job putting it all together. There's a lot of hard work. I will never take that away from the gentleman who put it together and all the people who are a part of it. It's awesome. I just think that he made the dumbest mistake of thinking that he was going to be able to profit, monetize, or get any form of crowdfunding for it because it's unethical for them to do that unless they felt, and they could have by all means do so, but I think the way he came at him, I'm pretty sure the way that he came at him, it was like, and the response was like, nope. That to me was like, oh, dude, no, how dare you ask that? How dare you? In their heads, it's probably like that, and it's probably why they kind of blocked him off. But it is up. Apparently, it is up again because they decided they blocked it at one point, but it looks like it's back up. But he's not going to make money off of this. He has to do it himself. I think also, last thing, what I think also is what he done is that he probably, by asking that, is that he probably sabotaged any chance of him actually working with Disney or LucasArts to do something like this. It's very possible that he kind of damned his way out of this one. So if you're listening to this and you're a creator out there, please, it's one thing to be a creator, but it's another point to be a business person, and you have to understand the business etiquette of how to approach people about things. You don't do so by asking to make money off of creations that are not yours, unless you work with the company and it's all together with them, and you're profiting from them for some reason. Other than that right there, that pissed me off right there. So, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for what's new in the world of A.C.M.G. We're going to take a break, come back, and review the follow-up to Death of Superman, that be the Reign of the Supermen. We'll do that right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dak Xavier Josiah, the host of A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live, the podcast. You want to catch up with all of our podcast shows and hear from some of the hottest names in all of anime, comics, movies, and games, such as...
This is Miley Flanagan, the voice of Naruto.
This is Stephanie Shea, the voice of Sailor Moon.
This is Ruben Langdon, voice of Ken Masters and Dante from Devil May Cry.
Hey there, this is Kyle Hebert, the voice of Ryu from Street Fighter V.
This is Chris Battle, character designer of Teen Titans Go.
Here's your chance to check out all of that and more on TalkTimeLive.com. TalkTimeLive.com provides all of our ACMG content with new and previous episodes, exclusive interviews, articles, and much more. Visit TalkTimeLive.com and let us help you learn to let go, live life, and love all things ACMG.
Talk Time Live.
This is Chris Battle, character designer of Teen Titans Go, and you are listening to ACMG Presents Talk Time Live.
Do it.
And now it's time for our talk topic of the week. Ready? Fight!
All right, folks, we are back with our talk topic of the week, and it is my review of The Reign of Superman, which released yesterday, and I had a chance to watch it twice since I've done it. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I really enjoyed it that much. I watched it twice, but also to get some other notes and news from it, because watching it the first time you can't get it all. You can't cover it all, and usually it's never good to watch one thing once and get a perspective of it, but I got a chance to see it again. Sam Liu, who directed The Death of Superman. He also directed a lot of things that you may have loved in the DC animated universe, and as well as the TV shows as well. He's rather done storyboard work. He's been involved in so much of what we love today from Warner Brothers Animation and DC. It's just awesome. So honestly, overall, I thought he did a great job here. It was a great follow-up, in my opinion, to this. And, again, they, take from the actual events of the comic book, just parts of it and made it their own, because they kind of mixed the New 52 aspect of it into it as well here. So you're going to get their version. People who are looking for a direct source, you're never going to get direct source. This is their universe. This is their movie universe, much like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. it's another universe. It's not going to be direct to source in this case. So, just take that out of your mind. But if you do, you'll get a whole new enjoyment based on something that you enjoyed a lot. And the death of Superman was such a big deal back then. And the follow-up to it was really crazy because, much like this, and they took a lot from this series. After, I think it looks like it's been years later since the events of that happened, and Lois is still coping with the situation. Everybody's still trying to cope. The Justice League is having a hard time, maintaining order since Superman is gone, and they realize how much he has meant to them in a way that, without him, things were much better, which is crazy because you got heroes in there that have almost the same strength, the same abilities, if not different abilities that can help out, and yet Superman is just like the overall of that. I've always found that weird. I mean, yeah, he's probably the most powerful of them all, and they make him out to be the most powerful of them all, but still having an ability is still more than what humans can, endure. So, but nonetheless, without a Superman, there was a little bit more, things were a little bit more chaotic, with the exception of 4 different Superman-inspired beings that are going around trying to fill the gaps that were lost by the death of Superman, or the alleged death of Superman in this case. And one of them was, in fact, the Eradicator, which we learn later on is a sort of a android of Superman in this case. We also have Superboy, which is a product of Lex Luthor, let's just put it like that. We also have Steel, which we learned from the original episode. It's John Henry Irons, and we all knew this if you're a DC fan or even a comic book fan that was aware of it. Where that was going to turn. And they actually show the end credit scenes of all these guys at the end of Death of Superman as well, if you remember. And then there was Cyborg Superman, and there lies something interesting right there. So, and sort of kind of the lead to what's going on in this actual storyline here. So all these new Supermen are going around, and everybody's trying to, make sense of it. Kat Graham, she's doing reports of it on her TV segments and whatnot. And, Ma, Pa Kent, and Lois, like I said, are just trying to cope with everything going on. They're still speculating. Lois is not giving up hope because of the fact that they saw that his coffin was open and he ended up leaving in some case. So it's a lot going on. It's really a lot going on. They, at the same time, Lex is trying to have his own situation of trying to create his own version of Superman through his own means, and has this kid, which is Connor, who becomes the PR version of a Superman, but everybody thinks of him as Superboy strictly because he's still a kid and he's acting like a kid in this case. So all things are going on here. So now we're trying to figure out, 1, is Superman still alive? And 2, who the hell are all these other ones? So all through the movie, you do find out there's a hell of a lot of focus on these characters, and I love it. One of the best things about it is that there's less Superman. I mean, not only just less Superman, but there's less Batman in here. And a lot of times in these DC animated movies, as great as they are, they do take up a lot of Batman in these things, and there's too much focus on Batman. Well, he was so on the sidelines here, but he still made his presence along with the other Justice League members. So, I mean, everybody got to see somewhat shine and got a line in or whatever like that, and particularly some really good scenes in there too, involving a lot of them. But they did a great job focusing totally on the 4 new Superman characters in here and trying to make a situation of this. So it was, really interesting to see that there. There was just like I said, the animation was phenomenal. I mean, so phenomenal. DC animation, or WB animation for that matter, it's amazing what they do, because they're doing animation-wise, and remember, we talked about this last week, animation and character design are 2 different things. It's one thing of how it looks, but the other thing is how it moves. And from an animation standpoint, it's absolutely stunning. Very fast-paced. Frame rate is just smooth as all hell. almost the way. Now we all know if you grew up in the era that I did, we know because we grew up looking at Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry and Popeye and all those other really great, animated shorts and series back then. The animation quality was so great in there, but I think as time went by, and we just talked about this, that the price for animation actually increased, and they rather that or they're just being very artistic. And this is a simplistic time, I'm not sure, but it was always greatly animated, and mostly to compete with Disney, because Disney was the end-all be-all of animation. When they made animated anything, it was so beautiful and delicate. But now Disney mostly more relies on CGI and Pixar and all this stuff to do and stuff like that. I miss the old hand-drawn style of doing things, and they just don't do that anymore. That's just honest to goodness truth on that. In this case, DC Animation almost picks up the helm from that, and what you get is animation that rivals anime. It at this point it really does. In the case, I mean, even anime, I don't see this type of animation. I wouldn't say all of it, but there's so much anime out there. But if you look at some of the animation from the 90s and the 80s, and you kind of look at some of them now because they rely on a lot of CGI techniques to design their characters and everything, it is far and away, I don't want to say far and away, that's maybe exaggerating too much. It is a contrast. Let's just put it like that. Not saying it is a bad thing, because anime is still really good. The character design is phenomenal, but it's just not. It's not. Some of it, depending on what you watch, it's not heavily focused on as it would used to be, and that was the thing about Dragon Ball. The Dragon Ball series, which everybody loves so much, because you got to see animation and fight choreography like you've never seen before. And DC picked up on it and really kind of referenced himself from what you saw in Japan and especially Dragon Ball from there. In this case, when you saw Death of Superman last time, one of the greatest impact fight scenes in animation. I will defend that. And I love Batman, Superman, Apocalypse, but like I said, I watched that recently, like no more than a couple days ago, and then I watched Death of Superman again before this came out. Now, that fight scene, people seldomly forget, that fight scene is so sick. Like, Doomsday, I've never seen anybody wreak havoc that bad in American soil. So, I gotta tell you, man, they did a great job. The fight scenes on Reign of Superman is nowhere near as good or as impactful and epic as Reign of Superman, but it still does a great job. They still have some really great dramatic fight scenes, especially between Cyborg Superman and Clark as well. And it's really well done. I really enjoyed it. And the character design alone is just stunning. I think they got it so right this time. This is perfect. I mean, that same Young Justice style that we're used to seeing, it's on here. And by the way, Young Justice has been really, really good so far. I managed to get a chance to see the first few episodes of that. I'm looking forward to it. When it's all over, I'm going to definitely check out, probably do a review on that as well. Absolutely phenomenal so far. It was worth the wait. I can tell you that. If fans have not jumped in, there is a 7-week trial that you could do. I would say wait till this series over. Watch that. Watch Titans. I think you won't be disappointed. I could definitely say that. If you're not a DC fan and don't want to spend the extra money, they do have a 7-day trial. Just make sure that you get your ass out of there before the 7 days is over. You're gonna be spending it on the first month. So, and even still, I think I believe you will be able to get out of that month afterwards anyway. So once you pay, and you can jump back on. I think it's sort of like WWE Network. But let's talk about the actual characters and actors from here, because I would definitely want to get down on that. Majority is exactly the same characters and actors that was done before. In this case, Jerry O'Connell, who again amazes me as Superman and Clark Kent, and he's playing Cyborg Superman's voice as well, because it is technically supposed to be him. So, I mean, if you guys have seen Jerry O'Connell before, on anything, and you know how he sounds. For him to project his voice to sound so masculine and heroic as he does. I mean, he plays Sheldon's brother on Big Bang Theory, so you can see him on there if you haven't seen how he really sounds. He projects. I mean, this is a guy that I used to watch as a kid when he did his first role, I believe not his first role, because he was in Stand By Me, I believe too, but he was in My Secret Identity. That's where I first found out and discovered Jerry O'Connell, and it's amazing how far his career, and I'm glad it's still going because he's great. But he does so well as Clark and Superman in here is amazing. So I give him a big nod for that. Rebecca Romaine continues to play Lois Lane, and she does this very convincing role as, again, really felt heartfelt because she was really trying to find in her heart of hearts. One of my favorite scenes with her basically was when her and who was it? Wonder Woman, Diana, played by Rosario Dawson, was also, coming together. And, Wonder Woman thought that she was trying to, she was there to console her and everything. And, she revealed that they were an item at one point and Lois never known about it. So they had some form of a bonding with that scene. So that was a great scene right there too. Rainn Wilson, like before, he did good. He's not by any means my favorite Lex, but he does what Rainn Wilson can do with a character like that. He made his own Lex Luthor, and this version of Lex Luthor is good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. But when I think of Lex Luthor, and I just watched Public Enemy also recently. Clancy Brown is the best. It's just no way. Clancy Brown is the absolute. He is to Lex Luthor as Kevin Conroy is to Batman, as Mark Hamill is to the Joker. People do not give him enough credit for that role of Lex Luthor, but he does phenomenal. I mean, he has a very masculine. Even if he whips out, he still comes off very masculine and debonair with the way he does it and his voice carries. So, but Rainn Wilson, who you guys know from The Office, he plays Dwight, I believe, on The Office. But he does really good, and his version, I do like his version. Don't get it twisted, but I mean, there's nothing to it. It for what he does with it, it does pretty good. Interestingly, Patrick Fabian, who plays Hank Henshaw, who is probably the big focus of this entire movie, and I did not realize that. I didn't put two and two together. But if you go back and definitely watch The Death of Superman before you go and watch this, because if you watch it, then you realize that he is the pilot, the astronaut, along with his wife, that was very happy about Superman. He was really kind of praising and fanboying about Superman saving his life one time, and I can understand that, but did not save him when Doomsday collided and killed his entire family. Somehow, some way, along the way, Darkseid managed to get a hold of him, and Darkseid manipulated him to hate Superman, and because Superman didn't save him, so he put that in his head and recreated him into Cyborg Superman, thus creating a whole lot of havoc going on in this movie from there. He did tremendously well. I thought it was great that he played it on there, and you really felt his anger and rage from it, and very compassionate, but very cutthroat as well. So, definitely look out for that character if you have not seen this movie yet, but you're listening to this right now. Charles Halford, who played Bibbo Bibowski, and the Eradicator, believe it or not. And the Eradicator was such actually a really great character. He was like Superman, but the Punisher. But, he's an android, so it's like he only knows orders, and he's just taking out everybody that he could possibly can. He even tries to kill, he really tries to go after Lex at some point. So he's only given what he's ordered to do from that point. So I find it very, very funny from there. A big surprise in this episode was Superboy, who's played by...
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, Alexa. Anytime you say the word Alexa, stop. Every time you say the A word, pretty much she comes up. So there you go. But I digress. Cameron Monaghan, who you guys know from Shameless, and of course, if you're watching Gotham, he plays Jerome, aka the new Joker for that series. One of the biggest surprises and great features of that series. It's amazing how well that series has changed in fandom over the years. That was once the hottest show out, and the Penguin was once the hottest character in the show by far. And now people just kind of stirred away from it. I'm glad it's actually in this final series. I've been watching. It's still good. But I get what people get out of it. But, you know, Cameron Monaghan is really, he's such a great character. He plays the role of Superboy in this one. And Superboy's, he's a teenager. He's young, cocky, thinks he knows it all, thinks he's got it all. And he's also a clone of Lex in this case. So one of many clones that Lex has done. And throughout the show, you start to wonder, he starts to, you know, really enjoy being around the Justice League, but the Justice League is still annoyed by him. There's even one scene where Green Lantern is trying to take him out with a bazooka. And even Batman is like all for this as well. It's really funny. It's a really funny moment. But I thought he did really well in this as well. Chris Williams, who we all know as Black Lightning on the TV series. He's Jefferson, a.k.a. Black Lightning on the TV series. That comes hopefully tonight, I believe. May coming on tonight. I got to check. But in this, he's John Henry Irons. So there was a big focus on him as well in there. I mean, like any of the four Superman, there was a huge focus in it. I thought he did a tremendous job. He's awesome. You know, who'd have thought the guy from Living Single would, you know, end up being involved in all this? But he's the man. I love this dude, and he's also a friend of a friend that's been on the show before. That's Amanda C. Miller. We spoke about that when we interviewed. He's awesome. So I'm glad that he's getting all this pull because he's a really good talent. Of course, Rosario Dawson as Wonder Woman. She's been Wonder Woman for so many of the DC animated movies, and she continues to take the lead in this as well. She's really assimilated and adapted to this role as much. And it's Rosario Dawson. What else can I say about that I can't say about, you know, Heaven and Beauty? Pretty much. She's so tremendous. And you can find a lot of great, you know, actors to play this role, this very empowering role, but nobody is really empowering in real life than Rosario Dawson in some cases. You know, she's a power player in this. Nathan Fillion, Green Lantern, he wasn't on here as much as you would think, but he was in here, not as much as he was in the first one, but, you know, like I said, a lot of the core Justice League guys were in there. I mean, Christopher Graham is the Flash. Shamar Moore was also in here as well. Nyambi was also in here, as well as from Mike and Molly was also here as Martian Manhunter. Funny moment there when he was trying to portray Superman in the end of the actual movie. But you know, they were all there some part. Jason O'Mara, who actually has been taking over the role for Batman, also did a pretty good job. And again, kudos to them for not putting him so much in the forefront because it wasn't about him. We need more DC animated movies other than Batman. No disrespect to Batman, and of course I absolutely love Kevin Conroy and everything he's done, but like, we had a Green Lantern movie, we had a Wonder Woman movie, we need more. And we had a few Justice League movie, not Young Justice, we had Teen Titan movie, so we need to keep that going because there's a lot more characters they got out there that they could focus on as well. But he did pretty good as well. I mean, there was a lot of great talent in this series this time, but shout out to Tony Todd, a.k.a. Candyman. He's Darkseid. And Darkseid is a major point of this because if you watch it, and like I said, he's the reason why Hank Henshaw ends up becoming Cyborg Superman. This turns into a whole new situation and ends up being a sneak attack invasion from Apocalypse. So it was awesome. I mean, to see what Hank Henshaw, or a.k.a. Cyborg Superman, was able to do and convince people to become more than what they are and inhabit them and control them in such a way. And if you watch it, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's really, really cool of how they put it together. But Tony Todd, man, come on. I ain't messing with Katie, man. Perfect choice for Darkseid. So, yeah, overall, it was just, it's just some really great scenes in here, some really great things in here. I absolutely enjoyed this movie, like I said. Is there anything I need to add here? Best scenes? Like I said, the best scenes I thought was the fighting scenes with the Eradicator soldiers, Darkseid's invasion, that's what ended up being. There was one scene on there that I loved when the Eradicator, after when they all when Superman finally awakens. And again, if you haven't watched this yet and you're listening to this, spoiler alert, we're going to be talking about this in 2. This is all in the comic books, so this is nothing new. But there is a scene when they're in the Fortress of Solitude and Clark revives or re-energizes to some extent. Eradicator actually reminds Clark that he's not powered fully yet, so he needs to stay off of sex until he is fully powered. And they all looked around like, wow, that was some much non-needed information there. So, man, it was awesome. I would definitely go check it out. I think it is worth buying. It is a great movie, great character development, great acting, just all around great animation, great character design, great follow-up to the events of Death of Superman. And guess what? There's going to be another movie coming soon. And with the Darkseid was just a prelude, and it looks like they're going full blast on Darkseid, the Justice League, and Lex himself. So I thought that was really awesome. And that one scene of the end credit scenes, which, by the way, stay for the end credit scenes, fast forward to the end when you see it. But Lex comes and joins. They're already in the watchtower from above, and all of a sudden, he just pops up out of nowhere, and Green Lantern is like, who keeps leaving the door open? And that's how it ends. So I approve of this. I give this an A. I enjoyed it. If you give me a percentage of how many bad DC animated movies there are, in my opinion, I'm going to probably give it like 5-6% of it. There's not that many. Like Gods and Monsters is probably like my least favorite of them all. But other than that, I thought they did a really, really great job here. Continue to do a great job. I love all of the movies that they came out with. Now, I did have beef with the Teen Titans. What is it? What was the one? What was the one with Deathstroke and the Sadist Contract? I believe it was called, because the art style looked really weird at that point, and I think they tried to mix a little bit of a CGI thing. It was really weird, but that was kind of the weakest. But still, I liked the story of it as well. The Judas Contract, that's what it was. So other than that, no, they are really extremely strong at doing these, and I'm looking forward to seeing the next movie come in, hopefully next year. They're probably already working on it right now, so go out of your way to check it out. The Reign of Superman, available now on digital, and will be released later on in Blu-ray DVD, and will be on I believe at the end of the month, it will be appearing on the DC Universe streaming app, from what I understand. So stay tuned for all that and much more. Ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for this first of many Talk Time podcast that will be coming this week. And it just dawned on me too. Not only am I doing a review of Glass, not only am I doing a review of Dragon Ball Super, I'm going to the movies on Friday to see that. You know what else comes out on Friday? The second freaking season of The Punisher on Netflix. So that's a whole nother review in itself. So this is going to stretch all over to next week. So there may be another early podcast that I'll be doing a review on that next week. So just stay tuned for that and much more, because it's just too much to do. There's no way I could do a 10 to 13 episode series on the same time that I'm doing two movie reviews. It's no way. It's too much. Plus all the news that's going on. Too much. So stay tuned for that. Also, I got to tell you, Matt Papa should be on this week to talk about Dragon Mark for Death. So we're going to talk about that and all the other things that are going on there from NT Creates. He's back in Japan, so we're gonna connect from there. But later today, I may actually have it out by tomorrow, maybe later today, who knows. I will be talking to a gentleman that I actually bumped into online, and lo and behold, after talking to him, he was worth having on the show. And if you're a wrestling fan, you will be very, very happy to hang on and stick to this show. Josh Chernoff. I don't know if many of you know him, but he's going to be doing a wrestling TV show on Fight TV coming soon. So he's promoting that. But also he also does his own podcast, wrestling podcast, with none other than the legendary wrestling journalist, Hall of Fame wrestling journalist, Bill Apter. If you're a true wrestling fan, you know that name, and he's going to be on the show later on today. I'm going to have him on. We're going to talk about his new show coming on. We're going to talk about wrestling. This is going to be a very wrestling-heavy episode, but in the essence of all things A.C.M.G, he is a gamer to some extent. He has played some old wrestling games, so we're going to run down his favorite wrestling games too and talk about that as well. So we're going to get down on all that, but if you're a wrestling fan, I highly recommend you jump on this episode. And we're gonna have a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to picking his brain with the fact that he's been talking to he talks to Bill Apter, who I know he's been around for a long time in his business, covering some of the best in NWA, and I'm talking about the Crockett era and all this stuff. So it's going to be awesome to talk to him about that, and check him out. Definitely, I believe it's called Apter Chat is the name of the podcast. So you could go and check. It's on Stitcher too. You could definitely check it out there as well. So stay tuned. So Josh Chernoff is going to be there. We definitely got Matt Papa coming. We also got Daisy Lightfoot in the works coming in too. I spoke with her recently, and she's going to hit me up and let me know when she's going to be free and available to talk. So stay tuned for all that. We're going to keep it going and keep it growing in 2019, much more. So, and who knows who else is going to be on the show? I do. Do you? People, keep following us on TalkTimeLive.com, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play. Shout out to my partner, Kim Lewis, who's helped me out, and we're looking to add more and build more for 2019. So stay tuned and keep with us, because we got a lot more in store for you down the road. And one more thing, I'm going to say this again. I'm going to always say this, with everything going on, with us finally stop turning a blind eye on things, please protect and save the ones that you love the most from any type of harm, sexual abuse, sexual misconduct, domestic abuse, child molestation, any of that. Just don't turn a blind eye, please. Find a way to help those people who need it the most, because they need heroes just as well as we want to become heroes. And if you want to become a true hero, be there for those people. So that's all I got to say about that. But otherwise, this is Dak Xavier Josiah saying, learn to let go, live life, and love all things anime, comics, movies, and games. This is A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live. I am out of here. See you later on today. Of A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live is brought to you in part by Viewfinder's Identity Search and Design. Your choice for web design, graphic design, and all multimedia development needs. Visit VFISAD.com and let us bring your vision to reality.